Welcome to Over 40, Fabulous and Pregnant. I am your host, Jamie Massey, and you're listening to episode 81. If you are looking for pregnancy stories of women over 40, today, again, we have a little something different. Today is the second part of a two-part series of IVF over 40 roundtable discussion. This is the second part because the recording was about 3 hours long. And I put a poll on Instagram and it was decided to make this into 2 episodes. For the first part of the show, you can listen to episode 80, where we talk a lot of general questions and our overall experiences. We have 2 returning guests and first-time guests where IVF hasn't worked. I do love showing you examples of what is possible. However, I thought this would be a great perspective to have. In this show, we go step by step through the process as a linear process, how each step of the way was for us. Now, I say linear process because we often know IVF does not happen in that single order, and it often bounces around quite a bit. And we talk about it in the show, but this is not a recipe for how to make IVF work. And I just want to make sure that that is clear. This is really just our experiences, and hopefully it will help you make a decision if IVF is right for you. It's funny because we each did so many things different and we have such different opinions. It's really nice to see everything kind of together and us kind of go back and forth with that. And I think that's really where the good stuff is to take away from this episode. It truly was so good to be surrounded by other women who have gone through the same process. And if you have or are thinking about it, this is such a great episode for you. And speaking of, this is what Sonia had to say about part 1 of the IVF over 40 roundtable show. She said, "Thank you again for this week's episode. It has helped me so much in this journey. I'm trying to do all the things you and the other ladies on the podcast recommended. My clinic hasn't been the best in explaining, but I feel like I've been okay so far because of your podcast." Sonia, I'm so glad. I know I felt the same way, that I really didn't get the best education through the process either. So good luck with your journey and please keep us posted. And another show means another week I am closer to giving birth. I am now 29 weeks along in my journey with donor eggs, and I just can't believe I'm in the 3rd trimester already. It's mind-boggling. And the 2 big things that really happened this week, as I mentioned on Instagram, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. And yes, according to the test, I have it. And my fasting glucose level was normal. But at the end of the 1 hour, I was 219, which is really high. And like anything between 70 and I think 140 is considered normal. Don't quote me on those numbers, really. I think that is just a guesstimation. However, I have been testing in the morning and then 2 hours after I eat, and all of my levels have been between like 73 and 106. I have counseling about it this week. And I have really lowered my carbs, which I know makes a huge difference. My opinion on it is I don't normally consume that much sugar in one setting. So of course my body is not going to be good at controlling it. right? I mean, wouldn't it be better to test where I'm eating a normal to high sugar standard like food diet for me? I even played around with eating an eighth of a donut and then a quarter of a donut to see how my numbers went. Like, you would expect someone with gestational diabetes, like they went crazy, but they didn't. I mean, clearly I am pretty uneducated on this subject, but that is my take. I talked about it with my doula, and she suggested I might be able to wean off of the testing because if my numbers stay in range. So that makes me feel a lot better. It just seems silly, like I don't really even have it. And the second big thing is that we met with our doula, Emily, on Friday. Of course, I took all of the notes. She recommended papaya enzymes for my reflux, and I haven't heard anybody on the show recommend it. My reflux is really bad. She said that they recommend Tums, but it's more of like a temporary solution. It's really short term, I think. And I got the papaya enzymes in the mail yesterday, and I think they're working pretty good. I take like 3 after every meal, and it really helps. It's so nice. And she also mentioned I need to get on a birth class, which I know, but everything, I don't know. I just feel overwhelmed in general. But I think I've decided on hypnobirthing. I was talking to someone about the Bradley method, but I just don't think the Bradley method is right for us. I'm assuming they are going to want to induce me. I mean, between my age, gestational diabetes, and IVF, pregnancies are considered a higher risk. I'm just going into this assuming I'm going to be induced. But I talked with Emily, and she suggested that maybe we can do like a midwife induction the day before we do a medical induction. A midwife induction is like, we've heard it on the show quite a bit, I think, where they do like the castor oil and like all kinds of different concoctions and teas before as an induction. Of course, a medical induction is with Pitocin, breaking water, or doing the balloon thing. So I want to avoid an induction, but the closer I get, the more I just don't think there's a way around it. So I'm hoping this can be not so much as a compromise, but maybe I can have the best of both worlds. Hopefully. So I think that's later on when I talk to the midwives about all of that. But it was a really good visit with Emily, and it makes me a little more prepared for what's to come in July. It also makes me a little less prepared. My to-do list just got a little longer, but that's okay. But enough about me. Let's get into IVF over 40 roundtable discussion part 2. Are y'all ready to get into the egg retrieval prep?
Yeah.
How did y'all prepare for your egg retrieval? Nisha, you want to start this out? Talking about supplements, diet, exercise, all the good stuff.
I didn't really change my diet. I'm pretty healthy, like you said, Adriana, as well. And Sonia, I'm a vegetarian. I don't know whether that makes an impact in terms of the process in any way, but in terms of supplements, I took extra folic acid and iron. But we've got a brand called Pregnacare. I don't know if you've got that there, or maybe something similar. It's all the vitamins in one. And I was told not to do that and do it all separately. And then I spoke to my GP and they were like, no, just take that one vitamin. It's fine. So I listened to my GP and I did that. But I would say I didn't really do anything extra, if I'm completely honest. Maybe I drank more and I did a lot more change. I made a lot more changes to my diet when I was pregnant rather than sort of in preparation for my retrieval.
Okay. Adriana, what about you?
The first retrieval, I only took, if I remember correctly, just prenatals. That was pretty much it. The second one, CoQ10, prenatal. Oh my goodness. I'll think of the other one. I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But no, I really didn't do anything different other than adding those supplements.
Same. Like I did the supplements and then that's it. Yeah, I drank more water, but I'm pretty healthy otherwise. So I really didn't do much, but I also knew like I don't have any immunology stuff, right? So there was no point in doing all these other things if I don't have any immunology issues.
Mm-hmm. What about medication? Who did your shots? How did the different medications during the process affect you? Adriana, you want to start with that one?
Sure. First time 6 years ago, I couldn't look at needles. I know I worked at a hospital before, but just giving myself shots, that was very weird. And I just couldn't do it. My sister's a nurse and she lived about 6 minutes down the road from me. So every morning and then every evening I was going to her. She worked in the operating room. And the last 3 days, she got stuck in the operating room. And I mean, I waited until I had all the meds ready to go, waited for her until the last minute, and she just couldn't get out. So I did it myself, but mostly my sister. The effects on me, I think that time I was I felt tired and emotional, but that was pretty much it. It wasn't terrible. The second time my doses, I mean, I was at the higher doses. I mean, like the highest possible dose. So I gave myself the shots. I know I probably should have had my partner do it, but I was a little irritated with him. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it myself. Do you need help? Nope, I don't. I got this. I'm doing this process basically by myself. So let me just finish. So I did all of those shots myself. And yeah, it was a lot tougher emotionally. Maybe because I did have a partner and I felt like I was not getting the support. So it didn't seem as easy. He did help though with the progesterone and oil shots because that needle, I just couldn't. So
Sonia, what about you?
So I did all my shots myself for like egg retrieval stuff. And part of it was like, I wanted my husband to do it. And I even got upset at him. I was like, why aren't you doing this? And then he was like, I don't want to fuck this up. Like literally he looked at me and he was just like, I don't want to be responsible if something isn't done right. And I was just like, okay, all right. Now with the progesterone oil, yeah, once we get to transfer stuff, then that one I did need some help with. But yeah, I did them all myself.
Nisha, what about you?
Joe did mine for most of them. I think there were some towards the end where, I think you're taking something crazy like 7, 8 in a day, aren't you, towards the end, I remember. So he just wasn't around and he was at work, so I had to do it. But he did all of mine. It was important for me to get him to do it so that he felt like he was playing his part in the whole process. I think he struggled doing it. He saw the pain I was going through and I think he really felt it. But yeah, God, they stung. I just remember them. And the bruising, you run out of places to put the blooming injection. So I couldn't even reach half the ones, even if I wanted to do it myself.
Yeah.
Not fun.
I heard so many stories of all these partners doing their shots for them. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I have the biggest fear of needles. Like I have passed out on the floor getting my ears pierced. And I'm like, oh, I got this one in the bag. He's going to do all of them. How are we going to plan this out? And he goes, I'll do your first one. And that's it. You have to do all your other ones. I was like, oh, no, this isn't right. Everybody else has their husbands do it. So you need to. And he goes, do you want to get over your fear of needles and have a baby or not? I was like, give it to me right now. And I think I did. He did the first one. And then he did a second progesterone, I think, because it was like my dress was weird, or it was some outfit I had on, and he did 2, and that was it the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah. So I kind of got over my fear of needles.
That's awesome.
That is tough love.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
it was.
I think it is also, or it was for me, very empowering. Because the first time, I can't do it. Oh my gosh, you've got to do it, Laura. And then the second time around, like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's go.
By the end, you're like, no big deal. I can do this in like 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull over on the side of the road here because it's time. And I still have somewhat of a personal social life. So I did it once going to a wedding. So we had to stop at a CVS parking lot and let's go.
I've done the same. I've also done it at a party. So we went back in the car and did the shots and went back in. No big deal. Let's talk about the egg retrieval. You know, I kind of want to mention first that I was shocked at just how vulnerable it felt. I mean, you go to your doctor's appointment and they look at the follicles. But when I walked in that OR and they have you go up, sit on the table, and you are spread eagle with all of your business facing a window and all these people running around, and you're just like, oh my gosh. Like it just felt so vulnerable, and I don't think it really felt that great. But my egg retrieval, we had, I think, 2 or 3 follicles, and I only had 1 mature egg. So that was the end of that one for me. Yeah. Nisha, you want to go next?
I kind of felt it was a comfort to see all of those people for me and the lights. And maybe I'm a bit of an exhibitionist as well. And you just get used to it. By that time, you're like, you know,
okay,
down, stick everything up you to see what's going on inside. Like, you're just kind of used to it. So, but I kind of felt like, because there was lots of people and they were explaining every step of the way, I felt it gave me comfort more than anything else. And there was a lot of humor in the room. I loved being like on anesthetic. I loved coming out of it. I was on high. I loved being able to eat loads of biscuits afterwards and not feel bad. Like, yeah, I got extra love from my husband afterwards, and I really milked it. So yeah, that was kind of my experience, I'd say.
I love it. Way to flip that one around. Adriana, what about you?
First one, we walked towards the OR, but I felt like that anesthetic just hit. So I don't really remember much. The second one, it was given to me in the room before we left to the OR. So I remember I'm being wheeled off and I'm just talking nonsense, and I was out. I don't remember. The first time I was a little nauseous after the anesthesia, so that wasn't great for me. The second time I didn't feel anything at all.
Sonia, what about you?
Yeah, so I actually never made it to an egg retrieval. Yeah,
really?
Like my everything was so bad for me that I never made it to an egg retrieval. Yeah, which was wild, because I was like, how is my body responding so hard to these medications? And it responded for IUIs, but there was something that when we went to IVF, my follicles weren't responding. And I couldn't believe it, because I'm sitting there going, how am I feeling this medication so much? Like when I would inject a Menopur, 45 minutes later, like I felt it. Like it was so wild. I'm really in tune with my body too. So I think that's part of it. Like, I think as an endurance athlete, you have to be. But I couldn't make sense of why it wasn't working. Like, it was just like, how is this not working? How is this not working? How is this not working? And it's not about, like, obviously, if you have no follicles, like I understood that medication can't make follicles, but at the same time, I'm sitting there going, how are they not growing? How are they not responding to all of this I'm putting in? It was wild to me. It was absolutely wild and devastating. I mean, now looking back at it, I was just in such a fog, and I was just like, almost like disassociated too, because I just couldn't believe it wasn't working.
Yeah, I was the same way. I was on the highest dosage and we only got one mature egg. And it's like, but I respond well to medication. What's the problem?
Yeah.
So creating embryos. Sonia, you're up first for this one.
Yeah. So obviously,
because you did donor eggs.
Right.
So how was that?
So with the donor eggs, the first round of donor eggs resulted in zero, like zero, no blasts, which I was like, yeah, that was hard. I just went, wait a second, because you have no control too, right? With that egg retrieval. And then knowing that, wait a second, some fertile myrtle, young spring chicken eggs were shit.
Yeah.
And so it was just like the luck of the draw, basically.
Now, did you buy frozen eggs or did you do a fresh transfer?
No, we did frozen. And then we paid for the Assured program. And so the company we went with, sounds so transactional, I know, guarantees a blast. Like one blast is their guarantee. So when this first round didn't work, then I was guaranteed another round of donor eggs. And then obviously that one, I ended up with Taya. So that part ended good.
And how many eggs did you purchase?
6.
Okay. So did we.
Yeah.
Okay.
And part of that was just like, we were only looking to have one child. So I think that's the bigger, but yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Nisha?
So in terms of my numbers, I mean, I think vaguely I remember, I feel like I've blocked it out after it was done, but just I went through 3 rounds back to back, and I ended up with, I think it was always the lower side of average. So it was something like first round 7 follicles, then 5 and 5. And then the eggs were in total, I think I had about 7. About 7 eggs. And then they turned into 3 embryos, and I got them tested. I think with my clinic, you had to get them tested for abnormalities. And I ended up with 2 embryos, 2 good quality embryos at the end.
Now, did they create embryos along with your egg retrievals, or did you do all your egg retrievals and then one embryo creation?
1 embryo creation.
Okay.
Yeah. It was frozen. And then, I went through a frozen, they thawed it. And then I did the implantation.
Gotcha.
And I think out of the 2 embryos, one of them was better quality than the other one. It must have been great quality, right? I'm so blessed. And got 2 little ones, but yeah.
Adriana, what about you?
On the first round, we ended up with 2 embryos, which after genetic testing, neither was normal. So at the end of the day, 0. And then the second one, we had 3 follicles, but they were only able to retrieve 2 eggs, 1 embryo, and we did a fresh transfer at that point. And then the third cycle, of course, it was canceled after a few days of meds. So, of course, we got 0.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of found creating embryos kind of stressful because you have no control over anything anymore. And then when that phone call rings, you're like, oh my, this is an answer.
And you get the update. So you're I was getting them through the app. So I'm literally looking at my
Oh,
phone, logging in like every 30 minutes and just waiting and waiting. And
yeah. Mine were phone calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
So Nisha tested her embryos. Sonia, did you have yours tested?
No,
We didn't
Taya's
either.
Taya's a 5-day fresh transfer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like but again, part of that was, the choice of using donor eggs in somebody younger. And then with already her genetic profile being crossed, against my husband's before they made the embryos. So from that standpoint, we knew, right, that part was going to be good in terms of creating embryos. Although it's interesting because you don't do that when you select your partner if you're in a hetero
Exactly.
relationship,
Yeah.
right? You just you don't say, "Can I see your genetic report?"
Mhm.
Although, but
Yeah.
but no, we just decided let's do this 5-day fresh transfer, and I'm so lucky. Again, I'm one of the lucky ones of that it just worked.
Yeah. How did you decide which embryo to transfer? Did you have any say in it? And did you get an option to transfer more than one? Nisha, did they offer you an option to do
No, they
both of them?
didn't. They said after 40, we really highly recommend you not transferring more than one, just one. And for us, we would have been grateful with one for sure.
Mhm.
And I think one was a better quality than the other one, even though they were both fine. I
Mhm.
think one was better. So we went for the better one first.
Mhm.
Yeah, same. We weren't given the option to do two. And part of it was age, but the other part of it was I hadn't had an embryo transfer done before. So there was no data to go, well, you keep losing them. Let's do this Hail Mary and implant two.
Mhm.
Right. So my clinic is open to that, but there was just no data to support why that should be done. Taya's embryo technically is she's a day 5, and our other embryo that's on ice is a day 6, but
Mhm.
still good quality, just not tested.
Mhm. Adriana, anything for you?
That was pretty easy for me because I never created 2 embryos at the same time. So never really an option.
Yeah. So let's talk about the transfer. Any additional testing? I know before we did the transfer, I was like, please do everything possible to make sure I am ready. Did y'all have any extra testing done?
I had a fibroid and it was at the worst place in my uterus. So I had to get the fibroid removed before I did my transfer. So that delayed it a few months.
No, I didn't do any extra testing aside from, because they do so much blood work, at least, I felt like they did. So there was no indicator to do anything else. And quite honestly, because of my age, I wasn't interested in doing all the other things to make sure. I just went, there's nothing to indicate to us that anything else is wrong or needs addressing, right? Of all the things I've had done, there's nothing to support it. So let's just go for it. Had I not been in my 40s and maybe in my 30s, maybe I would have done more and been okay with waiting a little bit longer. I don't know. It's hard to say, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything else. But I always tell everybody there was nothing indicating that I needed to.
Yeah.
Right. Because I hadn't had a transfer before. So it was like, well, what would we be testing?
Uh-huh. See, we were looking for problems. I was like, what can we do? We did the Emma test.
Yeah.
And we also did
Emma Alice, Receptiva, that stuff.
Yeah. It measured inflammation. And then there was another one we did, and that measured the lactobacillus.
Okay.
And I was actually kind of low with the lactobacillus. I think it was reassurance also.
Okay.
Because we only had 2 embryos. And I was like, I don't want to mess this up. I want to be 100% sure. Yeah. Adriana, did you have any more testing?
No, I really didn't. The only thing they were really looking for during transfer was just my uterine lining. And that was great.
Yeah.
So
How long from the egg retrieval to the transfer, and how was your transfer? I think Sonia, yours was fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Nisha,
it's like
yeah, go
5
ahead.
days. No, 5 days. Like
Yeah, that was
5
it.
days later. Yeah.
Do you feel like you were ready for a transfer that quick after an egg retrieval?
I mean, well, I guess because it was donor eggs, right? So for
Yeah.
me, it was like, but
Oh, yes, duh.
right. So I I didn't, my hormones were great because they were all controlled by meds. So I didn't
Uh-huh.
have to worry about like, like the OHSS, the overstimulation, hyperstimulation. Yeah. But with a fresh transfer, you also don't know if there are any embryos until that morning.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, you don't know if you're having a transfer, really.
Didn't know.
Wow.
I know, right? Isn't that wild?
Oh, that would mess with my brain. I need to be planned out.
It was so hard. Like it was, yeah, it was so hard, so hard. And then I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, like I was like, oh my God, we're actually doing this. We are actually doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. Nisha, yours was frozen.
Mm-hmm. I had to wait because of my fibroid operation.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was also told that I may not have even needed IVF if I'd taken the fibroid out.
Oh,
But then
wow.
I have doctors saying that it could have been because of the medication the fibroid grew. So I'm never going to know.
Right.
I don't try not to think about it. Yeah. I had to wait for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm. Adriana?
I did a 5-day fresh transfer. And the interesting thing for us was we said when we get the embryos, we'll do genetic testing. And then we will do that because we were not going to do a fresh transfer. And so, of course, I don't get the eggs that we wanted to do genetic testing and talk to the embryologist, to the doctor. My partner is very much a science person. His dad's a doctor. So it's just no, statistically, medically, if we do a fresh transfer, the embryo could have issues. So it was so stressful because we really needed to know, like within 24 hours, if this embryo makes it to day 5, we will have to transfer that day. So we just decided to do it. So we did it at 5 days.
Uh-huh.
And it was really wild because I was not prepared. It was interesting.
So mentally, did you not feel prepared, or physically?
Mentally.
Okay.
Because I thought, what if it's not a good quality? We didn't do genetic testing. What if something's wrong and it ends up in my fear was miscarriage, because my miscarriage was horrible. I didn't want to go through that again.
Uh-huh.
But I thought, this is an opportunity. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't stick. Spoiler alert.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
It's tough.
Yeah, no, really.
Now, what about traditions? Did anybody do the fries, the socks? I did none of it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I did almost all of it, but in this sort of like weird way. So like I had so many people, like women in this community, like send me things to be able to do all the things. So like the socks and the shirt and all that stuff. But like my bonus daughter gave me like crystals to like bring into the room to hold on to. And then I didn't get the French fries because I was so like, I can't believe we just did this. So again, one of my friends like DoorDashed me McDonald's French fries. And then that night, my bonus daughter and I put out water because it was a full moon and we drank moon water the next day. Like I was that. I know I'm looking at Nisha's face going, wait a second, what did this woman do? Yeah.
What is moon water?
Exactly. That's a good question. It's such a silly superstition that under a full moon, you put like water in your crystals and it supercharges it. And my bonus daughter was like really into crystals at that time. So we were like, let's do it. So we did. And then we put out a big jug and we drank moon water every morning to help the baby grow.
I'm looking at you not because I'm like you're crazy. I'm looking at you because I've not even heard of these traditions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean by French fries and socks? Like, what is that?
So I think if and don't quote me on this, but I think that there's like a bit of, I think maybe like social media influence, and then also like marketing too. Like if you wear these socks, this is what is supposed to help you. And most of it is like old wives' tales. There's very little, or there's like one small, like you can have like one small scientific variable in there, and the rest of it is like folklore, capitalism,
right,
social pressure. Like these are things that everybody else is doing, so I must have to do it. But I tried to take them in stride in terms of not like crazy I had to do them. It was like, I'm going to have fun and do these other pieces with that element of it, as opposed to like psychotically going, I have to do all these things because it's supposed to be all that stuff. Because I didn't know if I was going to do this again, right? Like I didn't want to, I don't know if ruin it's the right word, but again, my values, right? I've talked about this before. Like I wanted to have fun with these things. And then I got to do them with, like, my bonus kids were like, McDonald's for lunch, I'm in. Like, you know, what preteen wouldn't be like, okay, yeah, let's do this. You know, so it was fun, right? My bonus daughter was into the crystals at the time. So for her, that was like, it was fun to do that.
Yeah. I probably did that. It's always cold in London, so I'm always wearing socks, and I love fries, so I probably did it anyway.
Well, the socks are like IVF, and you know, they have little things on them.
Yeah. I did the French fries and the pineapple pour.
Mm-hmm. We had one question on Instagram that said, what do you think were the successful things you did to have a successful? And I'm like, that's $1 million question.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's also like when women ask me what my protocol was, I'm like, listen, mine was so basic because I don't have any like reproductive, like I said, immunology stuff. Like I understand why we want information, but if you're wanting information to help get better results, to have peace of mind, all that stuff, that's great. But if you're asking somebody for what they did, because then you're hoping that if you do exactly what they did, that's going to result in a baby, you're going to be more miserable than anything else. Right? That's why it's like, what's important to me? What am I willing to do? And listen, like I was willing to like walk upside down. Like I was willing to do whatever it took, but I had to check myself because I also didn't want to compromise like who I am. Right. So buying all these things that are, and I think there's a little bit more of it in the US, but like all the marketing stuff, that's not me. Right. Like I don't buy all the things. I'm not. And so I just was like, no, and no judgment to anybody that does. And if you want the, you know, cool storage compartment for your meds, or you feel like that's what you need, if that's what you need to stay organized, then yes. But if you're not somebody that buys that stuff, then why start?
Yeah. It's not going to make you more successful.
No.
Yeah.
But it's, oh God, that's that breaks my heart because I feel like I probably would have asked that question too in the thick of like going through it.
Yeah.
And just tell me the secret thing and I will do it. I promise I will do it and I'll do it the best that I can. And it's like, I believe that you're going to do it the best you can, but you can't do what I did. Like you really have to look
hard,
at,
isn't it?
Oh God, it just,
It's so hard. And also like, I mean, after I did the interview with you, I got so many DMs asking me that question, like, what was your formula? And I think in a way it's like you want to give hope. Like for me, like my whole thing was I smashed my statistics, but I also said on the other side, I was one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't mean that you do everything I do and you're going to smash the statistics. It's not what I'm saying. So trying to strike that balance of inspiring and giving people hope, but then not leading them down this false hope where it's like, do it and you'll get to where I am. Right. Was something that's really important to me. You still have to be grounded. You still have to be honest about it. I say it every day. I was one of the lucky ones.
I say the same thing, right? With a 5-day fresh transfer, and she turned out perfect, right? Like it's like that's, I definitely was one of the lucky ones too in that space. And I always say that too.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just want to hug that viewer, that person that asked that question.
Yeah.
I want them to be like, hey, come to a support group. Let's chit chat about this. Oh gosh.
Yeah. So let's go to the 2-week wait. Do y'all have anything else to add before we get to our 2-week wait?
Mm-mm.
What was your experience like? How did you spend it? Sonia, you want to go first?
Yeah, we took a little mini family vacation. Like we lined it up. We went to we ended up going to Padre too. Like we took the kids to South Padre, which is like spring break location in Texas, but also family. Yeah, but at the time that we went in the summer, it wasn't spring break. It was family mostly. But it was a perfect distraction because we went away, but it just lined up perfectly, right? It was June, kids were out of school, they were with us, like it was a 5-day perfect distraction for me. Like perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adriana, what was yours like?
Oh, it seemed like it was forever long. I didn't do any pregnancy test at home. I just told myself I'm just going to wait until I get my beta. But I was driving myself crazy because everything I felt, I thought, oh, I think I am pregnant. Okay, wait, I had a headache because I had been pregnant before. So I was trying to compare that weight, like the headaches. I'm like, no, but it's probably the meds. Or I'm really tired. Well, it could also be the meds. So yeah, that was not fun for me, but I patiently waited until I got my beta.
Wow, good for you.
I didn't wait for beta.
Takes strength.
Yeah, no kidding.
Nisha, what about you?
Afraid to take it. I was like, what if it is negative? No, if it's let's say I am pregnant and I get a false negative. No, I'm just going to wait. So, I mean, I struggled with it and went back and forth and just decided, you know what, let me just wait for beta.
We talk a lot about this in the community though, right? Like to test or not to test. And it's like, again, like you have to do what's best for you to help you get through that. There is no right way to approach this. And anybody that tells you otherwise is full of it because each individual is different. Each transfer is different for women too. Yeah. Sorry. I just like anybody listening, I'm just like, there's no right way to do that. There's
right.
Yeah.
Definitely not. And we don't want to sway you to test or to not to test.
No, exactly.
Like whatever you want to do.
That has to be a grounding, like what do you do for you to help yourself to get through this? Yeah.
Nisha?
I didn't have the willpower to wait. So I took a test. I just got a pack of pregnancy tests, doing it every day. And I could see the faint line quite early on. But then I think the day when I got the results and then did the test properly, it wasn't as strong as before. So I was like, oh my God, does that mean it was wrong all of this time? And I got myself into such a state until I was officially, told that I'm pregnant after the blood tests. So yeah, I didn't have the willpower. I just tested it. And
now, what day did you start?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. If it's a 2-week wait, it was probably after like day 4 or something. Maybe I left it a few days because I thought, this is silly, I can do this. And then I was like, no. I didn't even tell my husband. I just did it without him knowing. And then when I saw the faint line, I was like, I've seen the faint line. And he's like, what? Like, you said you're not going to do it. That's kind of I have no willpower whatsoever.
Sonia, when did you start testing?
I always get this confused. I tested the day before my beta. So I think my beta was on day 9 or day 10. I have to look back at my calendar. And then I tested the day before. And I went back and forth, but I just was like, if it's negative, because I'd received so many negative calls from the clinic, right? I needed to know this ahead of time. So then I can start that grieving process. And that was for me. And that was, and I was not, if it was positive, I knew that there was still so many hurdles I needed to go through, but that I needed to be able to process that on my own and then go, okay, like, here's our path forward. But then I stared at that test the whole time. Like, I did not set it down and wait for it. Like, I just sat there and I stared at the dang thing because And then my bonus daughter, she was 9, 10 at the time.
Oh, I love this.
And she's just, her reaction, both of them were like, well, yes, you're pregnant. Like, you did this whole embryo transfer thing. Like, why are you so excited? Like, it's just so the naivete was like so endearing.
Yeah.
So endearing.
Yeah.
So endearing.
Now, for my 2-week wait, I did a lot of journaling, and that it really helped me believe and to get into the mindset that it was possible. It was so powerful. Like, I wrote a letter to myself as a mother, and like, I gave myself advice. Now I talked about what it was like to be a mother. And it was so powerful. And I wanted to believe and to know what I wanted to think, feel, and act before I ever took a test. That was really important to me. And at first, I was like, this 2-week wait is so easy. What's the problem? This is my second 2-week wait. And I got to day 6, and I was like, I have to test. I was like a drug addict ready to leave the office and go to Walgreens and get a test.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. And I was really feeling pregnant. Like, I had the cramps. Like, I was just like, I have to be pregnant. Yeah. And so on day 6, I tested, but it was light. And because my other transfer was a chemical, I was like, I think I had an HGC of like 42 or something. And I thought, this is happening again. I have a light beta. I was crushed, even though it was positive.
Yeah.
But then on day 7 and 8, I tested again, and they were really dark lines.
No, it's interesting. Maybe it's the pregnancy tests that I was taking, but my lines were never like, quote unquote, like dark or saw these like dye stealers. That's why I say this stuff, because I tell women, I'm like, and my beta numbers were really high. So it's, like, I think again, like, we lean into stuff hoping for this like absolute answer or this comparison. And that just like, it doesn't exist in the way that I think most of us hope it does.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, this thing means living baby at home.
Yep.
Right. That's the hard part. Yeah. With the IVF process in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see everybody else testing and their lines and their HGC levels, and you are just have no choice but to compare.
Well, and then that's the other thing, going back to like, is that who you are? Like, is that something that you would normally do? Right. Where you're like the serial tester, logging it, writing it down. That's not me. Like, it just isn't. Right. So I wouldn't do something like that. So I'm not going to start because most women are doing it, or it seems like they are in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important, like really important. If that is not what you do, like, don't start doing it, because it's not going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
If that is who you are, and that's part of like what you would do. I mean, I don't want to say normally do, because nobody normally goes through IVF, but if that kind of cataloging, logging, right? Like, if that's part of your personality, then that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. But it destroys women who that's not who they are. And then they do it and it makes it all worse. Even when it's a positive, it makes it all worse because they're doing these things that they normally don't do, but they see other women doing it, thinking like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, or this is what's going to make me look more serious than IVF. I don't know. Like, it's,
That's so true. You look at other people and you're like, well, I need to do that too. I should do that.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, not if that's not who you are, if those aren't part of your, like your values or things that make you, you know, feel better or help you cope, like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing any of that stuff if that's not who you are.
Yeah.
I never did acupuncture because it was so stressful getting there and like coordinating it and with my schedule, like it was too much. And I just went, forget it. Like it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. I'm like, I'm already, yeah. So I didn't do it.
I did. And it was like therapy for me.
See? And that's great. And again, like it really has to be.
Yeah.
Right? Something that is really important. Same thing with even like doing like drinking the pomegranate juice or the bone broth or whatever it is. If it's like, if you find it disgusting, which bone broth to me is personally disgusting, I'm not going to drink it. I'm just not. Because it's so gross.
I agree with Sonia. I think it's just whatever helps you, whatever will make you feel better about the process, mentally, physically. I did acupuncture getting ready for my transfer. So I thought I was going to have a transfer with my first IVF. I did acupuncture for probably 2 months. And again, type A, I feel like my brain is like my laptop, multiple windows open, running at the same time. And when I did acupuncture, I thought, okay, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm just going to try it. I mean, I went into a deep sleep quickly. It was so good. So and because my work schedule was so flexible and the clinic at the time was very close to where I worked, I continued to do it, but I found it very beneficial for me. And I was like, how in the world did that happen? I would wake up and, you know, felt like I was hungover or drunk, super relaxed. I may need somebody to drive me home.
Nice.
Yeah. I was just like, when is this going to be over? But I think I need to go back and try it again in a different state. But it's like, if it doesn't work, then don't do it. If it works for you and if it helps you, right? Because that's something, that's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. And to really lean into that and then also like financially too. If you can't afford, you know, like the acupuncture mats, right? That are like whatever, $1 bajillion, that's okay. Like you can't afford it. And also it's, you know, why are you wanting this right now? Like, do you need it? Is there something else that you can do, you know, instead at a gym, at home that is similar to that, like to what that product is offering, that's more within your financial range? Because IVF is already expensive enough. And to buy all these other outlier things, you do have to ask, is the company just trying to get more money out of women who are so desperate?
Yeah.
Like, think about what you would be willing to drink if somebody said this can help you conceive.
Do anything.
And sometimes that comes at a cost where women have spent thousands of dollars. And we're not talking on the IVF meds or the RE or like the other doctors, right, or specialists. We're talking about people that are just saying they're going to help you, but then just really take so much money from women who just want it so badly. Yeah, really, like that one really bothers me, like so much. That really bothers me.
Going back to the 2-week wait. Now, I felt pregnant, and I think that's not true for everybody. Nisha, I don't think you felt pregnant, correct?
Not at all.
Not at all. See, I think that's wild how it works either way. Sonia, did you feel pregnant?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right away. Like, and that was also part of the reason why I wanted to test early, because I'm like, it could be the meds.
Yeah.
And I was like, but this isn't. And same thing, like when I threw up like day 5, everybody's like, there's no way. Like you must have just eaten something bad. And I'm like, that's entirely possible. We were away. We ate at a restaurant. Like that's entirely possible. But it wasn't true in my case.
Yeah.
Like it just like, I think I'm just so in tune with my body. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know too many endurance athletes that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you talk to like marathoners, ultra marathoners, Ironman, so I felt pregnant. Yeah.
Adriana, what about you?
I mean, I overanalyze the situation. So, any headache or tiredness, irritability, anything like that, I thought, surely I am pregnant. I wasn't, but I think it's just oftentimes us overanalyzing also is the effect of the meds. So,
Yeah, you always wonder. Even though I was like, I feel pregnant, I still questioned myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I think we have a few Instagram questions. Do y'all have anything else you want to add?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I think this is really great, by the way. And I really hope that a lot of women, put this as part of their arsenal too, right? Like what they're going to listen to, regardless of where they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's one. She said, solo moms by choice and or doing it without an existing support network. And I think that being single, I think it's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But I think doing it without a support network is, I would advise against that.
Yeah. Again, that's that like finding people who are in your corner. And then I think the next step. So then once you find your folks, most of them end up being virtually.
Mm-hmm.
So then how do you then find one or two, right? One who you can physically meet up with on a somewhat regular basis that also gets it. Because I think that piece, especially for a lot of women in the IVF community, like that's a missing piece is like meeting somebody for coffee, having them come over, even if it's like every 3 months or 6 months, but it has to be, not has to. That piece of it needs to also be there in some capacity.
I agree because I'm at the point where if I do decide to move forward with any other treatment, it will be solo. So I would move forward by myself. And having done IVF before, there is no way I can make it through without a support system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our next question says advice for selecting a sperm donor. None of us used a sperm donor. And that's such a personal decision. Now we chose egg donors, but it's kind of the same process. It's like you just kind of go through it and figure out what's important to you.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, it's like there's no right way to do it. But yeah, I agree with you. That's a whole other podcast question. Yeah, definitely.
What was the hardest part about picking a donor? Which I don't know if it's a good podcast for that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would say for those people asking those questions, it would be like, go to other accounts who have used donors, right? So there are, and like Pursuing Fatherhood, I think that's what his Instagram handle is. Like him and his wife used a sperm donor, right? So then also like there are other accounts that people can go to and resources to read. But again, if they're looking for, this is the exact thing that you need to do to feel okay with picking a donor. Again, that's like such a personal thing that there's no one right way to do it, because then also money plays a role.
Yep.
Like a huge role, especially in the United States. And you can have the best intentions with like wanting to have some contact with the donor, all that stuff, but that might not be financially feasible.
Yep.
Because unfortunately that route's more expensive.
Yeah. There's so many different things to pick up that are important to you from the donor too. Like what's important to me may not be important to somebody else either.
Yeah, exactly. Or even to your partner.
Yeah.
Right? Like but that's, I think that's a good those are good questions to ask from somebody who's pursuing any type of sperm donor, egg donor, embryo adoption. Those are good questions to ask.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it's almost like, I don't know if this is a horrible analogy, but it's almost like, how do you pick a life partner?
No, absolutely.
It's kind of the same question. It's like we all do it differently.
And also letting go of some things that we've talked about here too. Like you're not going to find a replacement for you.
Yeah.
And you have to let go of that, right? Like you're going to find somebody who you feel, whatever the things are, that this is our next best possible option, since I'm not.
Yeah. And whether it's donor egg or donor sperm, like you're going to have to compromise somewhere along the way.
100%. Because again, there's nobody can replace you. Right. So how do you pick somebody then, or picking somebody to add to the mosaic of your family?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Going to our conclusion questions. What do you wish you knew before starting IVF? Adriana, you want to start that one off?
I think for me, really thinking of a plan and keeping in mind it may not work the first time. So how many times am I willing to do this? Because I started off without a plan, and then I had a plan of, okay, I'll do three cycles, and I was counting IVF and IUI there. And then I changed that. I pushed my boundaries in my plan. I said, no, it's 3 IVF. The IUI doesn't count, because I already knew that wasn't really going to work. I just did it as a Hail Mary. And so then my 3rd IVF was canceled because I had they couldn't see any follicles. And I thought, well, that one doesn't really count because I didn't finish it. Yeah. So you negotiate with yourself. And I think you could lose your mind doing that. And you can pivot again. That's totally okay. But just having a plan, having boundaries, and again, having a very strong support system is so, so important.
Nisha, what about you?
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything much more to add to that, really. I guess for me, it's getting all the information, but don't be too attached to the information.
Yes. Yeah.
Statistics are just statistics. You can still be that 0.01%. They could tell you you've got a really high probability, which is what you went through, Adriana, and then it didn't happen. So don't get too attached to numbers, I would say, through that process. But get that information, because I think it's important to have that knowledge and to educate yourself on it. But then my whole world was like dependent on statistics. I remember when I was doing it, I'm like, it just didn't matter in the end.
That's good.
Yeah, I think everybody's like, hit on it. Just that, like, being able to adapt to the changes and challenges that are presented towards you. And listen, like, that is like, nobody knows exactly how to do that, but just telling yourself going, I'm going to have this plan. And yes, the finances, all that's important to have, like, what are your limits? How much do you want to do? But then also you're basing this plan off of, you don't know what this next step is going to look like. Yeah. So being able to adapt and go, okay, this is my rough draft of my plan. And I'm understanding that I'm going to have to now rewrite this with this next step and next piece of information. Now I have to rewrite this with this, and that's possible. And that almost happens quite frequently with women, especially if they're, in their late 30s, early 40s. Like, it's adapt. And that is so, so, so hard.
Yeah. Because you would have never guessed you would have used donor eggs.
No.
Me either.
No. Not in a million years. No. And it's not in a bad way. It's just like, what? No, that's not. I have regular periods. Like, what
You're
are you
an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I know.
Yeah. And it was more important that I wanted a baby.
Yeah. Same.
That was a goal. What was the easiest part of the process? Nisha, you want to start off with that?
That's a tough one.
Isn't it?
The easiest part of the process. I think probably the beginning.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know what you're going into and you have that energy, you have that kind of positivity. It's all fresh. It's all like, I'm strong, I can do this. Like, yeah. And it does get harder. It genuinely does get harder. I think you can't not talk about that. Yeah. But I would say probably the beginning.
Because you haven't experienced any failure or any bad news yet. So you're full of excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think all four of us have experienced failures along the way.
Yeah.
I think that's something to note. It wasn't easy. We have two that have babies. I am pregnant, and Adriana, she didn't get pregnant. So I think it's really interesting to also note that we've all experienced failure, whether we have babies or not.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I was constantly told it's not going to happen. It's not gonna, like, don't get excited about any of this. And that I think that's hard because then you just always think that you're failing throughout the whole process. Like, it's not going to work then. It's not going to, like, everyone's telling me, the stats are telling me, the doctors are telling me.
Uh-huh.
So
how did you push forward, even though you had all that energy?
I think for me, it was just telling myself, okay, well, I had no control over the outcome of this. So I'm just going to tell myself that it will be okay. And I was open to other things. Like, I was open to adoption. I was open to, like, I just knew that a baby's going to come into my world. I wasn't sure what path and how. Mm-hmm. And that's how I kind of got through it. So I said to myself, it may not be this path, but it'll be another path and it's going to happen. I just felt it. Mm-hmm. And I really, truly believed it.
Yeah. And, Jamie, I think for me, as far as what was the easiest part of the process, I don't think any of it was for me. So I think that's where I'm maybe a little bit different. Because initially, even the first IVF was easier than the second one because I didn't know anything, right? It was exciting. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to preserve my fertility, all of these things. But it was very overwhelming too, because they're teaching me, the first doctor, they actually taught me in person how to do the injection. So they're showing me how to do that. I'm given a calendar. You cannot forget. And so, somebody just starting the process may think, oh, the 2-week period may be the easiest because you're not doing anything. Well, not physically, but mentally, it is tough. So I just don't think there was an easy part to it for me.
No.
Yeah. Even the good news was hard.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
That's a new journey on its own, isn't it? Like, okay, they've told you you're pregnant, but then what does that mean? They've just told me I'm 5 foot, I'm over 40, and they've told me I'm having twins. Like, what the hell does that mean for me? Am I going to lose both of them? Like, do you know, it's a whole new journey of fear and anxiety and stress.
Yeah. Sonia, you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think they both said it. I think, the beginning was easy because all I saw was possibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the easy part was. Everything else then wasn't easy at all.
Yeah. So now that we got that out of the way, what was the most stressful?
God, like,
we're all trying to think what
body, like, I don't know, like my body, like holding my breath for so long. And then every time going into an appointment going, are we going to continue with this cycle? Are we going to continue with this cycle? Are we going to continue it? And just like holding my breath and just waiting for like the other shoe to drop. And I guess this is like the more I got into it, right?
Yeah. you get more attached, don't you?
Yeah.
The further along you go.
Yeah. I think the waiting was really hard for me because I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, all of it is so hard and stressful, but I think once I hit a roadblock during a cycle, that was tough. So when I was starting my first one with my second doctor, I had never gotten COVID. I got COVID. And I'm like, are you right in the middle of it? So again, I didn't know if it was COVID. My partner got it first. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just isolate. And the symptoms of COVID were a lot like the symptoms of IVF. So the headaches, and finally I tested and I had it and it had to be canceled. So that was stressful. But then what came after that too, it was a canceled vacation. And then it was, you can't start the next IVF, or waiting for your period was the next, waiting for my period, which took 45 days. So literally waiting.
Yeah.
45 days. So I finally start my period and I'm really excited. I go to my doctor and I have cysts. So what do you do for cysts? They just go away on their own. You just wait
for the next cycle. Wait for the next cycle. Yeah.
Wait for the next cycle. Hopefully that works. Yeah. And so I think those little roadblocks that you hit during that journey, it's so stressful. Yeah.
I think now that you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, that's right. That did happen for a cycle for me too. So much.
And nothing you can do. Nothing you can do but wait.
Yeah.
And you have to wait on your body.
You have to wait on your body. You can't plan anything. I mean, you could plan vacations and things like that, but you don't know what's going to happen in a month.
Yes. You're bringing it all back, actually.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
And with my husband being in the military too, like there was this added level of like stress and planning and, God, I'm reliving that emotion right now. Like it's
horrible, the planning, and something I didn't mention before, and I'll throw it out there, but we had a vacation plan that we canceled. We were going to reschedule. My partner decided to go on his own, planned it all, didn't tell me he'd planned it until I actually asked him a couple of days before he left. Did you cancel that? Are you seriously still going? It's my birthday month. And I've already done my part. Okay.
Well, this is why I told Adriana that for her choosing to move forward by still wanting a child and not staying in an unhealthy relationship is courageous and strong and amazing.
Yes.
Because that want for a child is real, but we shouldn't compromise who we're with just to want that child. So that's like, I'm going to applaud you every single day for that. Yeah. Every single day.
Awesome.
Every single day.
It's been rough.
Yes. But every single day I applaud you for that. We're all getting emotional, by the way, looking at this and I just hope we're all applauding you here.
Definitely. What would y'all say to the woman who is struggling to conceive naturally but can't afford IVF? Nisha, you want to start with that one?
What can you say?
Yeah.
I just want to give them a hug. It's tough, right? Like, again, I was one of the lucky ones. It meant I had to compromise buying a house. So what? I could still go through IVF. I don't know. What can you say? Heart goes out to them.
Yeah. I think they might not need, I don't know, having a meeting with an RE first to find out if that's in fact what you need, right? Again, if we're talking about women in their 40s, then that's, the strongest possibility for sure. Like statistically, you're going to need IVF, but then finding an RE that can work with them and work within their budget, right? Like if that's really not feasible, because then there's other possibilities in terms of grants, programs that some clinics have. Like there are some answers out there. It still may not give you like the golden ticket and it requires a ton of work, but there are possibilities. And I think that's where having that community, women can go, oh, if you go to this clinic, here's what they have and their financing and their, help for people that can't afford this. Like they do exist. It's just finding that all on your own while you're also grieving and struggling. Like you're not supposed to be able to do all that, first of all. So like going to other women and going, I can't afford this, but I think this is what I need. What am I like? Somebody help me.
Yeah.
I think those are really good points. I think initially what I would say if you're having a hard time conceiving is immediately go see an RE. I wouldn't stay with my OBGYN. I would immediately go to an RE and really get very detailed information as to what would it take, what do the next steps look like for me. And then grants, that's something that Sonia mentioned. Just listening to different podcasts or following different pages. It seems like there's a lot of that. So maybe looking into that, maybe creating a GoFundMe account, right? Telling maybe some. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just like the anger thing in me. Like I was like, but if somebody says, pay me $5,000 and I'll like coach your way through to getting pregnant, I would take a huge pause on that and going, if you can't afford IVF, then please don't pay somebody who can offer you a cheaper alternative without vetting them either.
Yeah, be really careful because there's someone has an experience once and they become an expert and there's no regulation around it. At least there isn't in the UK. So
same here. Yeah.
There are so many false promises, so many gurus out there that kind of feel like they've got the answer. Don't waste your money on that. Don't.
Yeah, especially if you're already financially
Be very skeptical. Go into everything with skepticism.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. And Sonia, Nisha, thank you for saying that, because I think we're so desperate that we will try everything and anything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Another thing that I've heard from other women is their family has helped them as well, whether it's their parents or a sibling. So who knows, maybe that's a possibility. And also, I think one thing that's really important, I learned this too. So through insurance, make sure you know what your coverage is. Because when I did my retrievals 6 years ago, it was not covered. They told me I was not actively trying to have a baby, therefore nothing would be covered. Even my RE told me your meds are not covered. But guess what? I had an aha moment and thought, why don't CVS is a specialty pharmacy of my employer? When they called me and say, hey, your meds are going to be $5,500. I was like, and she goes, well, do you have a specialty pharmacy? They probably don't cover it. And I thought, you know what? Don't send it. Let me call them first. So instead of paying $5,500 for meds, I ended up paying $150.
Oh my gosh.
So my retrieval, instead of it being $13,000, it was like $6,500.
Yeah. And again, if you don't know how to work insurance or how, like, this is why asking other women, like, hey, like, how did you do this? Who did you call? This is,
because you don't, and the insurance person at the RE told me, no, typically with this type of procedure, you're not really going through the whole IVF. It's not going to be covered. So I'm glad I had that moment of, wait, let me just check in.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, the coverage could also change. So, I mean, every year they do an employee survey, and every year there's Adriana asking why we don't cover this, right?
Yeah.
They don't pay for my storage of my eggs, anyway. So now they cover egg retrievals. They will pay for storage up to a certain dollar amount. There's more coverage on the whole IVF process.
That's awesome.
And anything that is not covered by insurance, they give you $20,000 towards anything that is not covered.
Oh, nice.
So like genetic testing or if it's adoption, they'll do that too. So, I mean, things do change. So definitely take the time to read through that, to maybe call your insurance as well, and that specific department.
One more thing. So in the US, in academia, there's not a whole lot of coverage at most colleges and universities for these things, which is a whole other conversation. But I had a couple of friends that ended up taking a part-time gig at Starbucks because they offered fertility coverage. So here you have these like double PhD folks going, but it's like, and again, I don't think we should have to, but there are other pathways. They're not easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're not easy. Like, they're not easy.
Mm-hmm. I know we even used a credit card with 0% for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it just makes things easier too. I think some of the process, the only thing we had to really pay up front was that egg retrieval. And that was a big chunk, but a lot of the other process is little bits here and here that really add up.
Right.
So I think that's a good option for a lot of people.
Yeah. And there are loans out there, but again, like talking to people going, like, did you go with this company, right? What are the benefits to this? What are and you need others to help you out because you're just, if you're in tunnel vision space at that point, you'll sign on the dotted line almost anything if it's going to get you closer faster, right?
Yep.
So have somebody else going, whoa, did you call and ask for this? Did you? Yeah.
Our next question is, what advice would you have for the woman who is struggling to conceive naturally? Adriana? It's really
go to an RE.
Yeah.
I mean, because naturally, I mean, do you know?
I don't even like that word,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. And the thing is, most people don't know how you get pregnant anyway. Like, what is your window? When do you ovulate? All of those things. So just go to an RE. I mean, just if you've tried to conceive, normally they'll tell you a year. If you're 35 or over, they say 6 months. No, I wouldn't wait the 6 months. I wouldn't wait a year. I would just say, I've been trying for a year. It's not happening. Let's just go. Like,
I'm in the same boat.
Right? No, I'm not waiting. I'm going right now. I'm getting the answer.
Lie. And I'm not a fan of somebody telling people to lie, but nobody can prove how long you've been having sex for and how long you've been trying. So, and you're going to a doctor where you're going to be paying too, right? In the US, whether it's a copay or not, you're still paying. So for them to tell you, you have to be having active sex for a year, like, no.
Yeah, and just honest, but how do they know? Because I asked my OBGYN before I asked for a referral. I said, so how does the process work? So I tell you today, and then I come back in 6 months or in a year. She says, no, you just tell me that you've been trying, and if it hasn't worked, then we'll refer you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice because I've seen some women who try and stay with their OB for fertility treatment. And I'm like, go talk to someone. It's free to go to have a consultation with an RE.
Yeah, 100%. I'm right there with you.
Nisha, you have anything to add?
Maybe a little bit controversial, but maybe there's a lot of, after a certain period of time, are you burying your head? Understand a little bit, like if it hasn't worked for a time frame that you've given. I've had many friends say, oh, but we're just going to go on holiday and we're going to still keep trying and still try. And there's got to be a point where you say to yourself, okay, let's get checked out, let's get the numbers, let's see what's going on. And I think people put that off, and I would say especially over 40, don't put it off. Just do it. Find out the information. It's hard because sometimes you don't want to know. You don't want to. You don't want to know really what's going on. It's easier to bury your head, but I'd probably say that's the only thing that I have to add.
Yeah, it's hard to know that something might be wrong with you.
Yeah.
What advice would you give yourself if you could go back and redo any part of the process? Sonia, you want to start with that one?
You know what? I think this question is hard for me to answer because I'm answering with a living child at home.
Yes.
Right? Like, so like anything that I say, it's, I don't want to say tainted because my daughter's not tainted anything, but it's changed. So that advice is like, I don't know how I would I don't know what regrets I would have. I don't know what pain I would still be dealing with if my daughter wasn't here. I already still have pain and grief and things that I need to work through. But I don't feel like I'm the person that should be giving that perspective, because if somebody's still in it, the last thing they want to hear is like, what would you say to yourself? But you have a living child. So does that make sense?
Yeah,
That's just me. Maybe I'm an overthinker with that space, but that's just where my head's at.
Yeah. I found this one probably one of the hardest questions.
Yeah.
See, for me, I think it's really eye-opening because you've already been through the process and have a child, to see what you would do different. Like, would you go to donor eggs sooner? Or, like, those are the little things, what we tell ourselves, I think, are important.
So I would have then frozen my eggs in my 30s. If we're sort of,
perfect world,
right? Putting Taya aside, because obviously, like, again, like I have her, and I can't imagine it not being her. And in order for it to be her, it has to be donor eggs, right? Like,
right.
So that's like again. But if in a perfect world, setting Taya aside, I would have frozen my eggs in my 30s or my early 30s to see if that would have done anything differently. But see, like, do you see where I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I still can't really say it all because I have her.
Yeah.
I get what you're asking, Jamie. I think I'm just the wrong person to be to be answering that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, so I may be the right person to answer this one, because it hasn't worked for me. So I didn't even think about this, Sonia, but thinking of freezing my eggs in my head at that time, and even when I started the fertilization of these eggs, I was like, oh my God, I did so awesome. I was so proactive. I got my levels checked. I froze my eggs. This is great. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But now it's like, well, instead of doing it in my 30s to 37, I probably should have done it 30, 31. But did I have the money at that time to do it? So resources. You're living kind of it's a different lifestyle. So I probably didn't have the money at that time. And so, but if I had the money and the knowledge, I would do it as early as possible.
I think now there's more coverage, right? Because we're older. So we think about, 10, 15 years ago, like maybe if you had a cancer diagnosis, an employer might consider it, right? To cover freezing your eggs. But now one of the good things is that more employers are seeing this and doing this. There's more financial programs available, financing programs for women. I tell all my students, if you haven't met your person by the time you turn 30, freeze your eggs.
I wish somebody would have told me that.
Right. And I even tell them, I said, it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee, but you're giving yourself the best chance possible to do this if this is something that you want.
I think that's great advice. I mean, along with freezing your eggs when you're young.
All the knowledge you get, right? When you go into that egg freezing process, like it's not just about freezing the eggs. It's like all the things that the RE would check, that would have a conversation with you. Like you're going to walk out with so much more information about your own fertility that's going to set you up. You might not be given the news you want. No. It's not going to guarantee the pathway is going to be easier, but you're going to have these pieces of information sooner to make choices for yourself.
So true. And I think in addition to that, I think if I would redo this again, going back to a plan, just having that plan and understanding that I would pivot, right? Depending on the situation, but more or less staying on that plan and also finding a therapist. I think that's where that would have been very helpful for me because I'm not a super emotional person and I won't talk about things. And you're in that tunnel vision, you're going until you get it to a place where you're either pausing, you're stopping, or you're trying to figure out what you need to do. And then that's when it all comes out, right? And I feel like that's what's happening to me right now. And I should have addressed this 2-3 years ago, not right now, because right now I have so many life changes going on at the same time. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to about education, that's what advice I would give myself. Besides freezing the eggs, I have a girlfriend who's like 36 or she's younger. And I'm like, freeze your eggs.
Yeah.
And she's like, whoa, Jamie. I'm like, do it. The advice I would give myself if I had to go back is to educate myself on myself. Because I hear a lot of doctors just say, oh, your numbers are good. Oh, your numbers are fine. And I wish I took the time to understand what those numbers were and meant.
I honestly, but I think about that going, I didn't even know what to ask.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like, so if we're kind of leading into like the last question, like these are having more education of like just your reproductive health is so important. And it doesn't just fall on women.
Yes, definitely.
So, yeah. No, this has been good. This is a good conversation.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Nisha, did you get to answer that one?
I don't think I've got anything extra that I can say and share. I think these are really, really good points. I mean, I can't think of anything, and it's hard for me because I got the best possible outcome. So how do you say I would change anything when my results were so amazing?
Yeah.
Maybe I can't, and I couldn't have, like, I met Joe later on in life, right? Like, I couldn't force, like, okay, we've met now, let's try for a baby naturally, like, because my clock's ticking. You don't do that when you're in a relationship with someone. You don't want him to, like, run the other way. So it had to naturally take its course. And it's a hard one for me to answer because I think for me, it's easy to say it, but the timing was perfect for everything because I got the outcome that I wanted.
Yeah. Well, for our next question is, do you plan to use IVF in the future? I think y'all have an embryo left each. Y'all want to say any plans?
No. I have an embryo. I remember my health visitor coming and saying, oh, do you know, you've got an embryo. Do you know, what are you going to do? And this is when I'd just given birth, right? And I was like, no, like I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to research. And though she was like, well, it would be a waste. It would be a shame to waste it, wouldn't it? And I was like, you're not talking about chocolate cake here. You're just, you're talking about my life sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm going to give mine to research, and I'm blessed and I'm happy. And if anything, maybe one day I may think about adoption, but I'm not going to go through IVF again.
Okay. Sonia, what about you?
Yeah,
you've one embryo.
I have one embryo. So right now, the answer is no. I'm struggling so much with this because we only wanted one child, but because we already have two from my husband's previous marriage. So it's 3 kids. But as soon as Taya was born, I felt so much more connected. Like the other embryo on ice was also my son or my daughter. And I guess leading up to before Taya was born, I saw it as Derek needed to make the decision because it's his genetic material, not mine. But now I think so differently. And this is just me personally. But my health, I'm not in a space where health-wise I can do this in a reasonable time. And I tell women too, like if you're 46, 47, 48, and you want to transfer that other embryo and everybody's on board, like by all means do it. I just don't think that for me, and it's so hard to say this, but it's like, it's doable. Like if, in 3 years' time, sure, but then my age plays a role in it. But I also have a living child at home.
Yes, exactly.
right? So it's like, I get to prioritize my health because I still need surgeries, like, because of all the dental work I've done and reconstructive jaw surgery and all that stuff. So I still have stuff that I've got to get done that I put on hold to be able to have Taya. But yeah, but it is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's really complicated. Anisha, I applaud you for having like the resolve to have a decision that you've made. I think I'll get there. I think I'll get there.
But again, my situation is different because I have two. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Did you always set out to have two?
No, I think I would have, through IVF, I would have been happy with one. But you don't, how can you don't know. You could have one and then you'd be like, oh, they want a brother and sister. And
yeah,
like I said, adoption was an option for me. It still potentially could be if, you know, things work out financially in the next few years. So I just can't answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adriana?
Yeah, for me, I don't have any embryos. So I don't have embryos. I don't have a partner. So and I don't have eggs. So if I decided to move forward, then it would just be, and then I'm really thinking about it as an option, embryo adoption on my own. And so that's something that I'm exploring. But as Sonia would say, I'm in between spaces. So there's so much I have to figure out first. I'm staying with my sister right now, looking to buy a house because I moved out last weekend. My car's in the shop because of moving day. I had an accident, starting a new job. So it's just, okay, just take a deep breath, pause this for now, get these other things situated. So
yeah,
That's
possibly.
a lot, by the way. You're going through a lot.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is.
It's been a shit show for sure.
Well, I always think about like a sibling. I mean, first I'm like, please just get this baby here is my first thing. And, you know, because we went to the ER, I think 2 weeks ago because I was bleeding. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So
scary.
It really is. And so that's kind of my first thought already is let's just get him here. And then I would love a sibling. And my first thought is like, I would love for this to be like natural surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
yeah.
And, you know, that happened while we were in the process of finding a donor, as I was pregnant naturally in the middle of it. And so that would just be an amazing surprise. But I always love embryo adoption. I've always been drawn to that. So,
you know, it's funny. I don't want a natural surprise pregnancy.
Really?
No. I'm so connected to my daughter. And if I were to do this, it would be with her first, with her full genetic sibling. But I wouldn't do that to her. And that's me. But I have this like really unique bond with Taya. Like it's undescribable. Like I feel so connected to her and so like committed to her and her story and her life that I wouldn't want a natural pregnancy.
Yeah.
I would want, if I were to choose, I would try with her full genetic sibling.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think I might feel the same, but I don't have any embryos.
No, right. Yeah. Like it's so, like I said, we make all of these things are so subjective to what we're already going through and experiencing. Right. And that's why I always like having a child, a living child in this community fundamentally changes so much that like, I always want to make sure that I acknowledge that. Like it fundamentally changes so much to where it's not that my perspective isn't useful or helpful, but the whole, what would you do different stuff? Like all those questions are really hard to answer because I think about like, but I get to open my door after this. And see this little toddler run towards me.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so no, that's, that's hard.
Mm-hmm. But also for me, I also have to have a partner that also wants another child too, which is, it's another struggle that I think a lot of women don't talk about.
Yeah.
What if your partner doesn't want another child?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so valid.
What should more of us be discussing about IVF that we haven't covered?
We've covered so much.
I know. I feel like we've covered it. Like, just especially with women, in their 40s. Like, I really like you need to go to an RE. Like, you need to go to an RE to get the answers of where you are. Right. So you can then make the best decision for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just going to an OB or just following an account or 3 accounts or whatever it is in social media, that's not enough.
Yeah.
If you're I would say even 37, 38 and above, like that's not enough. You have to get the testing done so that way you can make the best decision for what you want, what you can afford, what you can do. But yeah, seeing an OB isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Not at our age. It just isn't. I mean, honestly, at any age, really. But you don't have the time to waste.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think another thing I would add, and we talked about this briefly, but I don't think as a whole we talk a lot about it a lot, is the grief that comes with it. So whether it's grieving your eggs or an embryo or your fertility altogether, I think that's so important. And also, once you stop or you pause and try to get your body, we talked about this earlier, but I don't feel like as a whole we talk about it enough. Like, how long does it take for your body to bounce back?
From like the medications and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And if you're in your 40s, you may be in perimenopause. So that's a whole nother layer that you have to deal with. So is it the hormones? Is it the perimenopause? Is it like, what is it? And it's so hard.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about, well, we've mentioned it a couple of times, but being vulnerable, not having to put that mask on all the time, having that, not having to be that strong woman all the time, and being open to talking about the emotional side of things and the feelings that this whole process creates. I think, social media, it's one of those things where it's like everything's, a lot of the time it's what you want the world to see, but it's not necessarily what's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to show that and to talk about that more. And this is a really great platform for it.
Well, do y'all have anything else to add before we wrap up?
No, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful meeting you ladies as well. And thank you, Adriana, for coming and showing up and, inspiring so many women. And Sonia, it's just been so lovely to hear your story. And thank you, Jamie, for inviting.
Yeah.
So,
I find these conversations so therapeutic.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
I absolutely
appreciate
agree.
Yeah. Just listening to everybody's story, so different, but it's very much like therapy. And I really, truly enjoyed this.
Good. Do y'all want to mention your social media? Where can we find more information about you? Adriana, you want to go first?
Sure. So I am actually both on Facebook and Instagram. I am a lot more active on Facebook because I'm older. So that's just what I do. I don't post a ton on Instagram, but I do from time to time. So you can find me on Instagram at Delgadillo_A. And I'm sure it'll be on the notes because my last name's not easy to spell or pronounce. But in Facebook, you can find me with my name. Yeah. And if you have any questions about anyone can reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or have a conversation.
Nisha, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram now a lot. You can see the twins and the antics that they get up to every day. My Instagram is my surname and my husband's surname. So my surname is Vyas, Vyas, Josephs. So it's the Vyas Josephs with an S at the end. It'd be great to connect. And likewise, anyone's got any questions, please do reach out.
Sonia, you want to go next?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram mostly. I do have Facebook, but I hardly use it. So I'm at donor egg mama cheetah, and after each word there's a period, and everything is public on mine. So I also run a support group every Sunday through fertility rally. So folks that are looking for extra support, and I always tell everybody, if you're not sure, because it is a membership, if you're not sure if this is what you need, we're always willing to send women the link so they can show up and see, like, is this something that I'm interested in? We also have support groups for women who are pregnant after IVF, and then motherhood after like IVF and loss. So I think it's a good support system, and I'm happy to be part of that.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that wraps up the IVF over 40 roundtable discussion, part 2. Join us next Monday, where we are back to pregnancy stories over 40. Stay tuned for another one of these special episodes as episode 90, if I don't give birth before then. I will keep you updated, and thank you for listening. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next Monday.
She already talked about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
But it's okay. It's okay.
Oh,
You're good. Pregnancy brain is a real thing. So you are okay. It is a real thing. It is a real thing.
okay, we're on to the next question then.
Yeah. You're good.
Let's talk about creating embryo.
But Nisha was so polite, though. Nisha was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to save this moment and try to answer.
I was like, did I miss the question? I'm trying to be more present in life. But I'm like, that's not worked, has it?
I love it.